I want to take a moment to thank all of my patrons for all the support. You guys keep me going. Thank you guys so very much. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me make more content because it keeps me going. When I see those subscriptions keep going up, it motivates me to make more videos like it. So I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Welcome to the Twisted Tentacle Inn. I am your innkeeper, and today I will be giving you my thoughts on the new subclasses for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And today we will be discussing the Bard. This video series is not an in-depth review. It's basically my first impressions on these subclasses. So my thoughts on these subclasses might change with time, but as of right now, this is what I think of each one of these. So we'll start with the College of Creation. At third level, you get a feature called the Moat of Potential. So whenever you give an inspiration to an ally, a little moat floats around them and provides a benefit based on what they use the inspiration die for. So if they use the inspiration die for an ability check, they can reroll an additional inspiration die, basically, and choose which result to use. That's pretty nice. If they use it for an attack roll, the attack creature and any creature you choose within 5 feet of it has to make a saving throw or take thunder damage equal to the number rolled on the Bardic Inspiration die. So this one is not good. The extra damage is fairly insignificant, and they might take 0 if they succeed on their saving throw. And since it's a save, a critical hit's not going to increase that damage. And the area of effect is so small that it's not really an area of effect. I said this on my Barbarian video. There's an ability where it does like a 5-foot radius area of effect. Let's be honest, a 5-foot radius area of effect might as well just not say area of effect, because it's going to hit one creature. Very rarely. Maybe 1% of the time you might get more than one creature, but overall it's going to affect one creature. Anyways, if you use it for a saving throw, the character who used the inspiration gets temporary hit points equal to the number rolled on the Bardic Inspiration die plus the charisma modifier of the Bard. So this is probably the best of the 3 effects. Temporary hit points are always good, and adding your charisma bonus to the temporary hit points, that's really nice. I wish they would have made it so that the thunder damage one also added the charisma bonus. That would have made it a little bit better. That wouldn't have broken the game, and it would at least have been decent for lower level characters. It's a missed opportunity, definitely. So you also get another benefit at third level. This one's called Performance of Creation. So you can create an item from the items list in the player's handbook or other places, I guess, because it just says to you to look at the player's handbook for examples. So it's not limited to those. There is a cost and size limit, but overall I think that this ability is pretty good. There's tons of utility functions, and despite the fact that the item goes away after a few hours, there's so many countless uses for this ability. I think this is really, really good. At level 6, you get the Animating Performance feature. You can animate an item for 1 hour as an action, and basically it becomes similar to like an animal companion. You can use a bonus action during combat and have it do like a force damage attack, which deals okay damage, it's like 1d10. The item has decent number of hit points, decent AC, and a really good control effect that triggers against creatures within 10 feet of it. Doesn't take an action to use that. No saving throw. Basically, it decreases the speed of enemies around it by 10 feet. Or you can even use it to buff your allies and increase their speed by 10 feet. So really nice that you get a choice here to debuff your enemies or buff your allies. And it doesn't take any resources, it doesn't take an action or any action economy at all. It's really nice. The best part about the item, it has a fly speed of 30 feet and a bunch of condition immunities. So this is really, really good. This whole ability to create this animated item is really awesome. It doesn't take any of your existing resources to make it. And, you know, it does take resources if you have to replace it, like if it dies or gets destroyed or whatever. But you can... You know, it takes a 3rd level spell slot. It's a pretty high cost, but otherwise, after a long rest, you can just make another one. So it's a big price to pay if you have to replace it in the middle of the day, but I think if you really, really need it, then it might be worthwhile. Bards don't get anything from their subclass after 6th level, so pretty much the subclass for Bards kind of ends there. unless you happen to be one of the very, very few people who plays past 13th level. So once you reach 14th level, you get an additional ability. This one's called Creative Crescendo. You can basically make up to 5 items at once from your level 3 ability, and you have no limit on the gold value for the items you make. So this is a weird one. It's kind of situational, but it's super, super overpowered. So it's weird, huh? It's like, in the right circumstance, creating 5 priceless items that last for hours, it's unbelievably strong. If your DM allows you to create items with any non-magical material, it becomes even more powerful. You can make like an adamantine hut. It lasts several hours to keep your party safe. You can create a golden armor, let's say, full of diamonds and sell it for ridiculous sums of gold. The uses are really situational and highly specific, but they can be super, super powerful if you use them in the right place. So no wonder a lot of groups don't play at high levels, because things like this are possible. Anyways, even without factoring in the level 14 ability, I think this college is overall very good. The abilities have great uses, a ton of utility. It adds quite a bit more utility for the Bard class. That's already a great utility class. All right, next up is the College of Eloquence. So this one was introduced in the Mythic Odysseys of Theros book. It's been reprinted in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, but nothing on this subclass has changed, unlike some of the other subclasses that were reprinted here. I don't know why it wasn't changed. So this subclass has gotten a ton of positive response online, kind of positive, from players. From DMs, it's gotten a ton of like scared responses. Everyone says it's the strongest bard yet. So let's take a look at it. At 3rd level, you get an ability called Silver Tongue. So basically, you treat any roll for persuasion or deception as a minimum of 10 on the die. You add your charisma and proficiency bonus after that. So if you roll a 1, that's a 10 now, and then plus your charisma and proficiency. So basically what that means that your lowest roll for any of these skills will never be lower than 15 unless your charisma sucks. But even then, it's still going to be no lower than 13 or 14? Come on. That's ridiculous. So strong. I mean, it's too powerful. So at this level, you're not going to encounter too many difficulty checks that are much higher than 15. So this is pretty much an auto success for persuasion and deception, which kind of sucks. It's like it takes away that random chance of failing when you're talking to someone. And I know, if you're thinking like, oh, you're just going to be able to get armies of people or convince the shopkeeper to give you free items, that's not really how perception and deception are supposed to work. It's not a spell. It's not charm. If the shopkeeper is on the fence about giving you a discount, you'll succeed in persuading them to do so. So it's not like they're just going to give you stuff for free whenever you want or convince people to do stuff against their will. That's not how those skills work. But even then, this ability is still, I think, too strong. It's broken. I can see why people say this is the strongest bard. It's just... and the worst part is you still get another ability at level 3. So this one's called Unsettling Words. You spend an inspiration die and you can cause a creature within 60 feet to subtract the roll from... Okay. So you roll your inspiration die and they subtract your roll from their next saving throw. Holy cow. This is even stronger than the other ability, Silver Tongue. So this one ensures that your spells are going to work, basically. Against a tough enemy, it's going to take them out of the fight. Because let's say you cast Hold Person or Tasha's Hideous Laughter. You use this ability as a bonus action, which frees you up to cast a spell on the same turn. So turn 1, bonus action this ability. They don't get a saving throw against it. Basically, you're debuffing them. You roll your inspiration die and you subtract it from their saving throw. Your spell is super likely to hit. It has limited uses because it's your bardic inspiration die, but it's so strong that honestly, even a couple of uses each day is just good enough to turn things around for your group. Both 3rd level abilities are completely broken, I think. Wow, that's crazy. At level 6, you get the Unfailing Inspiration feature. So if someone you gave an inspiration die fails their roll, they don't waste the inspiration die. So this one's nice. It's not super powerful, but it's nice because you're going to be using your inspiration die for this unsettling words ability from level 3. So you're not going to have that many inspiration die left to give to your other party members. This ability ensures that those count. So it makes them count. Every one that you give to a party member is going to go off. So that's nice. And then you also get another ability. It's called Universal Speech. You spend an action, you can have several creatures magically understand you, even if you don't speak their language. So this one has a lot of really cool uses. So imagine you want to lie to someone and you want to communicate this stuff to your group while dealing with a group of orcs, let's say. You can literally speak gibberish and your allies are going to understand you if you use the ability. So a couple things that you may not notice when you first read through this. It's kind of like the tongue spell, but you can't understand them. Only they can understand you. And it doesn't have to be a spoken language. This is the important thing. Unlike the tongue spell where you have to speak, you can understand any language. It says they specifically understand you. Not necessarily that you have to speak a language. So you could be speaking gibberish or using grunts, and they'll understand what you're telling them. So you can make tactical decisions without the other people in the room knowing what you're doing or what you're telling the rest of your party. Really cool. Yes, it's a very specific use case, and yes, it's situational, but I love the idea behind this ability, and I think it's well balanced. It works really well. So then, 14th level, you get Infectious Inspiration. So you pretty much can give a free inspiration to a creature when another creature uses your inspiration die. So Billy gets your inspiration die. They decide to use it on an attack roll. The minute they do that, another creature nearby, you can give them an inspiration die as well as your reaction. Pretty cool. And you have a limited amount of times that you can use that per day. But what's awesome is, like I said earlier, you're probably going to be using the unsettling words ability. So most of your inspiration die are going to be going towards that. So you have a limited number of inspiration die that you're probably going to be giving the rest of your party. So you want to make the most use of it. What's great is this stacks with the level 6 ability where it ensures that they take advantage of that die, because if they fail the roll, they don't waste the inspiration die. But in addition, by them using it, you give another die to another player. So basically, you can literally have the same amount of inspiration die, theoretically, as other bards, and still have that unsettling words ability be used several times per day. That's good design in terms of that. If only the unsettling words wasn't so strong and broken. To finish off with the bards, with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, we got 2 really great subclasses to an already great base class. Overall, both bard options in the book are mechanically top-notch. I think the theme for the bards in the book are mediocre. I think I love the barbarian, the ranger, the rogue, the warlock, and the sorcerer subclass themes the most in the book, even if some of them weren't mechanically very good. The bard ones feel like they're lacking a little bit of personality, especially compared to some of those other ones I mentioned. But honestly, it's not a big deal. The theme is mostly there for inspiration when you make your character. Your character can still stand out based on their own personality and background and other abilities that you chose. So an uninspired theme doesn't really affect my rating too much. I just thought I'd mention it, that it is lacking a little bit for me here. Maybe not for you, I don't know. Another note, I am a bit nervous about the College of Eloquence possibly being broken, but I'm going to reserve the final judgment on that after playing with one at my table, so we'll see, I guess. So, my rankings for the Bard subclasses in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, based on my first impressions, are: in the bottom tier, we have nothing. In the mid tier, we have the College of Creation, and in the top tier, we have the College of Eloquence. So that's it for my first impressions on the Bard subclasses in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Remember that my opinions for some of these might change with time, so first impressions can be deceiving sometimes, so we're just going to give this a little bit more time. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please consider clicking the like button, and if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them down there in the comments down below. As always, I am your Innkeeper from the Twisted Tentacle Inn. Check in anytime. I'll talk with you then.